What is up, guys, gals, and non-binary pals? My name is Naomi. Welcome to House of Miscellania. Today I'm coming at you with a kit up and chat, not a whip and chat. For those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. And for those of you who are coming back to see me, welcome on back. I'm Naomi. I make a bunch of different kinds of diamond painting like videos, content, unboxings, post reviews, kit ups, all sorts of things, and post reviews, reviews of products, tutorials. So I hope you'll stick around if you enjoy what you see. That all being said, a whip and chat is where I am going to, well, kit up and chat. I'm going to work on kitting up diamond painting, and I'm going to talk to you for about an hour. At the end, I always read a tarot card, which is our thought for the week. And we'll get into those in a little bit. But for now, let me get some things out of the way here. There we are. Okay, so first I want to tell you what I am kitting up, and then I'll get into like how the week's been going, etc., etc. This one, oh my goodness, let me start moving some things out of the way here. You're going to see an unboxing for this on the channel very soon. It might even be scheduled for Friday, possibly. Either way, this was sent by Jada Gem Shop. It is, oh, it's Enchanted Frost by Leoba Bruckner. This one is a 50 by 70 in square, and it has 39 colors, 8 special diamonds, and the render, y'all, she's absolutely gorgeous. You're just seeing like a little sneaky peeky under there. I don't want to show you the whole thing because you'll see it in the unboxing video, but you should definitely keep an eye out for that. Check it out. Okay, so again, this one is from Jada Gem Shop. I've got my stickers here. I've got all sorts of tools to use. So, okay, it's been a week since the last Whip and Chat, as weekly Whip and Chats go. And I, like I've told you before, it's kind of sort of like feast or famine with me. Either nothing happens or lots of things happen. And I feel like that's kind of similar to how other people deal with stuff. Like it's either you got all the things going on or none of the things going on, right? Well, for me personally, it's been like, it's been a mixed bag of a week, I guess. Hold on, I gotta go grab something. I'll be right back. Okay, so before I get like too far into things, I actually went and grabbed something as like I want to show you what I've been up to, because the last time I spoke to you, I was working on some blanks and things because I was gonna do I'm doing some pens for people, okay? And I had used some of my old resin, and I don't know what in the hell happened, you guys, but I'm so pissed because these freaking blanks are absolutely stunning and I can't turn them. I repoured, everything's fine. There's new ones poured, and it is what it is. I'm gonna go over and turn those like tomorrow through to next week. I've got a bunch of things to turn, but I want to show you some of these so you get an idea of what I lost, because I'm devastated. Okay, now the ones that I've remade are actually just as good, and in some cases better than the ones that I have here, but just to give you an idea, all right, this one here, this one ended up kind of bubbly, but again, I'm not going to be using it, so it's fine, whatever. This one, okay, so this was for a Taurus, okay, and it has all the proper stones, it has all the proper herbs, it's got this beautiful live edge wood in here that you can see, and I'm bummed I lost that one. This one, I was trying out some colors, but you can see they floated to the top, so they wouldn't have ended up showing up. But it would have just been the clear stuff that's underneath it. You kind of see through. Okay, this one, there's glitter on the top, so ignore the glitter on the top because, again, that would go away, but this was for a cancer. See, the problem is the resin didn't harden. You can see it's dented there. That's not supposed to happen. The top is perfect. The bottom, not so much. Okay, this one I made for a Leo. It's gorgeous. And I can't freaking use it because, again, it's not hard enough. And I thought maybe if I brought them home into warmer temperatures that maybe it would be okay. But it's like you can't turn a pen that you can dent with your finger, right? Biscuits, man, pisses me off. There's so many good ones in here, like just so many. This one for Aries. I mean, I made a bunch and I lost a bunch of materials, but you know, it is what it is. Like, look at that. It even has the stones are floating in it. I'm mad, but it's okay. You know what I'll probably end up doing with these is maybe selling them as very beautiful paperweights, because like this one, you can actually see all the way through it. Like, they're really beautiful, but you know, they have all the herbs and all the things intended for the specific like people that they were intended for or uses that they were intended for, and I lost all of them. But I have 12 more that are set up and ready to go over at the in-laws house. I know those ones are fine. So if you need a really fancy paperweight, so like it's a bummer. Oh, and then like this one was another Aries that I lost because it was not. Yeah, it didn't work out. The top is gooey. You can dent it. That's not normal. I'm mad, but it's okay. It's okay. Moving on. So that was what I was doing like during the week. Other stuff that I did, I had to go over to my in-laws a couple days ago, and we were helping them move furniture from one bedroom to another bedroom. They were moving bedrooms because my mother-in-law has her surgery. If you've been watching for any length of time, I'll briefly explain. My mother-in-law is having a knee surgery. It's actually a second knee surgery. That was a workman's comp issue from when she was working at the hospital. There was a huge wet floor, no wet floor signs up or anything, just a huge puddle. She slipped in it. She did severe damage to her knee, tore, all sorts of things, whatever, and it was a work comp issue. Well, when they replaced her knee, turned out that she is allergic to the stuff that they use inside of her body. This was actually a few years ago. Several years ago, they found out that because it wasn't healing, they thought, okay, something's going on, whatever. They never thought about allergies, but they did discover at the time that she had breast cancer. They took care of the breast cancer, yada, yada. Knee still wasn't healing because they thought maybe it was because of the white blood cell count, whatever. Well, as it turns out, it wasn't the breast cancer, it was she's allergic. So anyway, workman's comp's been fighting with them about not paying for another knee replacement, basically, even though she's been suffering with this knee that she's allergic to. Well, finally, after rescheduling, they now have a scheduled knee replacement surgery for her on Halloween. So we went over to the house to help them get their bedroom moved from one bedroom to another bedroom, one, because it's bigger, because she needs to be able to get through, because where they were, they have a California king size bed, and in order for her to like get through to get to her side of the bed, like there was just no room. You can't be trying to trip over things, squeeze through, whatever, when you just had a knee replacement. So we went over. We helped them get stuff moved over, and can I tell you, a California king-size bed is not light. The box spring, which isn't really a box spring, it was almost like its own mattress. And then they had this like thick mattress pad that was a mattress, but they're like this thick that you could like roll up like a burrito, but it still weighed about 1,000 pounds. Beautifully comfortable bed, but holy crap, because my father-in-law, he's 6'4". He's tall, big dude. And so, you know, they needed to make sure that they had a bed big enough for him, because my mother-in-law's like my height. I'm 5'2". And so, yeah, it was a freaking mess. And we went over, we did all that, what have you. I'm glad it's done, because, man, that was a lot. Okay, I got to figure out how I want to write this, because I'm trying to write it all fancy like I do. Whenever I have to write it out, I always write it really fancy. That looks ugly already, but it's fine. I'll leave it. I'm a little picky about the way I write things. It's fine. I'm over it. We're gonna go like that, and like that. Perfect. It's not pretty, but it'll do. This one is 39 colors, you guys. 39. It seems like it should be more, but it isn't. 39 colors, square. We're going to go kit up. It's technically the 14th. And we'll put a start date, but I'm not sure when I'm going to start it. So this one I started, gosh, I'll have to look into when I started my Bella piece, because I don't remember when that was. I didn't write it down. I'll have to look in my stuff. But yeah, isn't that beautiful? I'm so excited. So stupid excited. Okay, so anyways, blah, blah, blah. We went over. Helped them move. That was good. Got that done. What else? We've been having a like serious mouse issue in the house, because it's fall, right? And pardon me while I create some plastic sounds for a second. It's fall, and the issue is that now the mice need a warm place to go, right? They want to be in the freaking house. So the mice have been making themselves comfortable in the house, and I don't love that. They have been all up in our business, and it's annoying. We've been setting out live traps, and I don't know. Some people are very against the killing of animals of any kind, you know, what have you. And I don't love to kill animals needlessly. Like, it's not something that I'm, you know, thrilled about, right? But if you can't control them at a certain point, they will take over. You have to do something. And in order to live trap mice, they are incredibly good with regard to directions. And they can find, I was looking this up, they can find their way home up to 3 miles away. So in order to live trap them and then drive them 3 miles away every time we catch a mouse, just didn't seem feasible. And so we've set out mouse traps, and we've gotten several. But okay, so my son, he wanted to make something he needed to use the can opener for. What was it? Maybe he was going to make mac and cheese and corn or something like that, and he needed the can opener for the corn. And he opens the drawer where we keep the can opener, and as he pulls it out, this little baby mouse goes boop, and like if this is the drawer, when he like, you know, here's the counter or whatever, and then he pulls out the drawer and the mouse goes boop and like stays right on the edge of the drawer. And he's like, ugh. And then he's like, Mom, what do I do? I had just been about ready to take off for a walk. And I was like, I was wearing a sweatshirt, a really thick sweatshirt. And I pull my sleeves down over my hands. And I, like, the mouse is right here. I go, with my sleeves over my hands, I go, whoop. And I catch it in between my two hands. And I was like, okay, I got a mouse now, right? Like, I'm holding it in my hands. And I'm like, go open the door for me. Because I figure, like, okay, I know I'm going to have to walk it pretty far. And so I'm thinking, like, okay, where in the heck am I going to take this thing? Because if it's less than 3 miles, I'm not going to walk 3 miles. It's going to just come right back to the house. So I had a thought. We have bi-weekly pickup for our recycling and weekly pickup for our garbage. So I'm like, okay, I got an idea. I'll take it and I'll put it in into a trash can. It's early in the week, so I figure, you know, there'll be trash that people will throw away, probably garbage with food in it or whatever. It's not going to starve, but then it's too deep that it can't climb out, because these things are like 4 foot deep. They're huge trash bins that we put out. So I'm carrying this mouse in my hands like this, and I walk up to a really tall trash can that was empty because it was the day after trash pickup. So Friday, I'm holding it like this, and then I sort of go, ugh, and I let go of it down to the bottom. I felt bad because, you know, I'm not trying to kill it, but I'm also not trying to keep it alive enough to come to my house. And so it ended up, you know, I left it in there, felt horrible. I checked on it the next day, just thinking like, well, I hope somebody, you know, throws something in there for it that it can eat or whatever. And I checked the next day, and sure enough, somebody had thrown like the remainder of some McDonald's French fries in with it. And so it had French fries to eat. I was like, this is stupid. Like, why am I even worried about this freaking mouse that's been, you know, I think Dustin got a pregnant one in the trap. Thank goodness, because they breed as fast as rabbits, I tell you. It's ridiculous. But yeah, so I just, tired of mice. Beans is doing really well. Like, for those kind of following along with his saga, he's been dealing with some ear mite issues, and we've been treating them with the medicated drops, but he's very he's very touchy about his ears being touched at all, or his feet being touched at all. And so when you got to do anything with him, like, you got to fight with him to get it done, even with really high value treats. Like, he does not like to have his feet touched, his feet, you know, his ears touched, whatever. And so he'll growl, he'll run away, like, he acts like he's gonna eat you. He's not. It's like, you better never try to bite me, sir. You'd be in big trouble. But he's been allowing me to treat his ears. I've been giving him, you know, Benadryl, whatever. Well, he doesn't like peanut butter as a snack, kind of just ever. He's never really liked peanut butter. So I had made up something. I don't remember what. I'd made up something, and I had like the rest of the jar of peanut butter. It was more or less just like, if I scraped the insides, I could get at it. But I thought, okay, I'm going to give it to the dogs. Not a big deal. And so I threw it down on the floor, and it was Sugar, actually, my Chihuahua, that ended up going for it. I was like, oh, cool. Well, wait a second. Hold on. Hold the phone. Because several years ago, we had an Australian Shepherd Shih Tzu mix named Pepper. And Pepper had one night, it was like we were all busy doing something. My kiddo had a thing of like cheese balls or whatever, and it was in one of those giant tubs. I mean, giant, humongous tubs. And somehow Pepper had decided to try to get into them, and meanwhile got her head fully stuck inside of the cheese ball container, like big barrel. Her head fit in, but once she got past her ears, she couldn't get her head back out. So we had to like basically cut an air hole in it, like hold her still, cut an air hole in it so she could breathe, because, you know, every time she's breathing, she's literally just sucking the container tighter on her head. I'm like, oh my gosh. So we cut a hole in it, and we managed to, because like the end of a container like that is similar to, whoop, dropping stuff, something like this here, where it's like really thick plastic. You can't just get at that with a knife or a, you know, pair of scissors or whatever. Like, you got to really pry it open. And so, you know, it took us probably an hour or so carefully to get the freaking cheese ball container off her head. So here I am thinking like, oh my gosh, after that had happened years and years ago, I'm like, oh my gosh, Sugar's going to stick her head inside of this freaking peanut butter jar, and I'm going to have to rescue her. So I ended up like cutting basically the top off of it so that, you know, it was just like the bottom part of the peanut butter jar, like the actual screw on area. I just cut that away. I'm like, that's the last thing I need, is to have Sugar get her head stuck inside of a freaking container of peanut butter. Just got that, you know, managed, whatever. But what else has been going on? You know, I talked last week about the holidays, right? And I've been thinking a lot about it because, you know, my kids are grown up now. My son, my youngest, is 19, going on 20 in February. And so I don't have to do like the whole, you know, Christmas stuff, right? I don't have to do all the things that you would have to do for Christmas. And on the one hand, like, you know what? I need to trim these down, I think, to fit onto these containers. On the one hand, it's kind of nice because I don't have to worry about spending all of this extra money, you know, with Christmas around the corner. But at the same time, I still want to get my kids something as their mom. My son and my daughter are my kids, but then, you know, they each have significant others. And, well, I had a little bit of good fortune, which I sorely needed. It's not something that I'm like ready to talk about yet, but there's some stuff going on in my life. And so I had a little change in my fortune as far as money goes. And it's funny because I was talking to a friend, Miss Noelle, and Abby for that matter, but I'd been talking to Noelle at this point about, you know, like, I came into this money, I needed to go run to the grocery store because anytime that I have extra cash, I go and I take care of things for the house. I don't spend on myself. It's not like the first thing I did was go, ooh, shit, what can I get from Diamond Art Club or whatever. I needed stuff for the house, and I am the last person that I think about when it comes to money, right? Well, I told her I wanted to go to the store because I stayed on the phone with her and we chatted while I went shopping, and I told her I wanted to go to the store. And while I was on my way there, I was thinking about the fact that, like, I desperately need deodorant. I really badly need new socks. I really want a pair of new slippers because, like, my slippers are basically just tattered rags. And I wear slippers all day, every day in my house because I have hardwood floors. And I was like legitimately on my way there talking myself out of buying myself deodorant or buying myself a pair of slippers or buying myself new socks. Like, it seems like such a frivolous thing, you know? And I got to thinking about that because I've had a lot of anxiety around taking care of myself and making myself feel valuable to myself, if that makes any kind of sense. I'm sure to some of you it definitely does. Like, why are we the last people that we think about? We take care of our kids up to and beyond adulthood. We take care of our spouses or our significant others. We take care of our nieces and nephews or brothers and sisters. Like, we take care of everyone else first. And I think, you know, having put that thought in my mind and gone like, why is it like that? Why am I like that? I think a lot of it stems from my use and addiction. It's like somehow I had convinced myself long ago that I'm not worth these things, that I have still all of these amends to make, that I still somehow don't deserve it. And it's a weird headspace to be in, honestly. It's like I stopped getting my nails done. One, because it all costs, right? I don't want to spend on my nails when I could be spending that money on whatever, groceries, diamond paintings even. I felt like, oh, well, I could save this $40 that I spend every month and a half or whatever, because I would literally stretch it. I mean, if you go back and watch my older videos, you can see I let those nails grow out until they were practically falling off of my fingers. And so, you know, it just didn't seem like, it seemed like a frivolous expense, even though it was me taking care of myself. Now, granted, I've needed, like, my fingers are really bad dry right now. I need to just put on some lotion is what I need to do. I get really bad, like hangnails or whatever. But my fingernails needed to breathe, like desperately needed to breathe. And so I don't feel bad about deciding to not get my nails done anymore. Because I needed to allow my fingernails to get some air. I've been wearing fake nails for the last several years, many years. And so I knew that it was time to just let them go for a little bit. But it also, like, was reading to me as a really frivolous expense. And why? Why? Because it was for me? Because I was doing it for myself? And so I came into, like I said, a little bit of money from a thing that I'm working on the side. And my first thought is, go buy groceries for the house. Don't buy yourself deodorant. Don't buy yourself new slippers. Don't buy yourself new socks. Go buy some go buy some food for the house. And like, oh, that's great and well and what have you. And I did do that. But having spoken to Noelle and just kind of talking it over, she's like, Naomi, go get yourself some new socks. Because, okay, I already talked about this in, like, my group chats and whatever, my voice chats on Discord, but I found out that my kid's significant other has been stealing my socks. And then when I go to wash them, they're like black and crispy from somebody else wearing them for a week. Yeah, I needed new socks pretty badly, and I have them hidden now because they're mine. But you know, I needed new socks. It wasn't like a frivolous expense like I had kind of convinced myself. It was something I needed. Why do we do that? Can you explain it to me? Because I sure as heck can't explain it to myself. I think some of it is definitely probably residual guilt and shame from back in my, like in the grips of my sickness. Like I feel that. I really do. But at the same time, why am I still ruminating on that? Like why am I still treating myself that way? It's not fair to me to constantly put everybody else first. And I think, honestly, truthfully and honestly, when I think that's what kept me sick, because I was constantly thinking of everyone but myself. And I needed to just like basically make my mind do something else in order to tolerate the fact that I just wasn't giving myself enough. Do for everybody. I'll do for anybody. And I've been like that always. When I was working a real job, I always would, like, the first thing I would spend on with my check was always other people. Are you guys like that? I know I can't be alone in behaving that way and thinking that way. Like, why do we do it? It's crazy. It's crazy to have to freaking convince myself to buy myself a new thing of socks and slippers that I desperately needed. My slippers are cute though. Check them out. Okay, I just got them at Walmart. Like they're deer foams. These ones. They're just like $20 pair of slippers. But they're really cute. I like them. And I like, dude, I'm telling you, my old slippers are gross. Yes, they're Care Bears. My daughter gets me a pair of slippers for Christmas every year. Like, that's the thing that I ask her for, is like, I want slippers. And so I might get a second pair for Christmas, but like those were not going to last me. Like black on the bottom, like falling apart. I almost killed myself on my stairs because like the stitching or whatever is coming apart from the bottom, and I went to go up the stairs and I caught my toe where it like came apart from the bottom and I fell up the stairs. Thankfully it wasn't down the stairs. I'm always falling up the stairs. I'm really good at falling up some stairs. But like Joe Biden falling up the stairs to Air Force One, that's me. Totally. I'm a master at falling up some stairs, tell you what. But yeah, I'm just trying to understand the psychology behind why we as human beings, women, whatever, but especially why we as recovering addicts always want to put everyone else first. Well, you know me, and you know that I love to do research, right? And to find out the whys and just like really get to the root of the problem, and to help myself along the way, hopefully help you if, you know, this is something that you also deal with. If it isn't something you deal with, still, this might be something that if you know somebody that this is what they do, where they put everybody else before themselves, maybe there's some good advice in here for them, okay? But I figure that addiction usually breeds really deep feelings of shame and guilt. And so I think part of it is the internalized shame and low self-worth of the harm that we've caused to others, or failing, or losing control. And even after I've been in recovery for 6 years, wow, that was scary. I don't know what sound that was. Beans getting in Bowie's face. But even after 6 years of recovery, I still kind of sometimes carry the belief that I somehow don't deserve happiness or rest or I don't prioritize myself. I don't know how to say prioritization. And I think I'm trying to make up for some perceived failures. And like this feeling of worthiness or forgiveness. I think some of it too, for some people, especially one part of this, one, codependency. Obviously, addicts have some issues with dependency, right? And then people pleasing. Oh my God, I am a people pleaser from way back. A lot of that has to do with living with a woman who has borderline personality disorder. You kind of have to people please in order to sort of survive and stay alive, because you never knew what person you were going to get any given day. But I think a lot of that is like a fear of rejection. Like a lot of addicts come from or develop environments where love feels very conditional. I came from a environment where love felt very conditional, and it's like you learn that you have to meet others' needs in order to earn acceptance or avoid abandonment. Abandonment was a big one too, you know. But I think the result of that is like the person in recovery, or just people, prioritize others' needs above their own to maintain connection or approval, even at their own expense. And I do this all the time. I think there's also like a fear of self-focus, that it could be mistaken for selfishness. And I think because recovery often prioritizes and emphasizes like humility and accountability, many people internalize that. That message is like, I shouldn't think about myself, right? I think it's a confusion of self-care with selfishness, which, especially if you spent years being told you were selfish during your active addiction, right? I think the root of that is this distorted self-perception and a guilt conditioning that we have as people. I mean, addicts especially, but as people. And I think as a result, we avoid putting ourselves first to prove that we've changed, right? And that we're no longer this self-centered monster like we were when we were active. I don't want anyone to think of me as that same person, because I'm not that same person, right? I think there's also a little bit of like identity confusion and possibly like a lack of boundaries. I'm horrible with boundaries, honestly. Especially in early recovery, I think people are still rebuilding their sense of identity. And so without really good boundaries, or without a clear sense of yourself, it's easy to slip into these patterns of like overgiving or neglecting your own personal needs. And I did that a lot in active addiction. I think the root of that is probably this underdeveloped self-identity. And then there's, like I said, poor boundaries. I think the result of that is other people's needs become your default focus, and therefore self-awareness feels very shaky or uncomfortable. It can feel like you're being selfish again, you know? I love these drills. I do. Sometimes Jade's drills are really trashy, but I love the way that they sound. I love the way that they feel. I don't know why. It's very strange. It's almost like glass, but not glass. You know, obviously it's a resin, but it can feel like kind of glassy. I think there's also caretaking as a coping mechanism. I think that some people, me especially, I've been guilty of replacing substance abuse with caretaking, and helping others makes me feel in control and distracted and emotionally regulated, because if I'm helping somebody else, then I'm helping myself somehow, right? And I think that substitution of addictive behaviors with relational control or caretaking, that as a result, you can help others avoid facing their own pain or loneliness or anxiety. You're not allowing them to feel their feelings because you're trying to essentially like block them from happening. You're trying to save them from themselves. And if you are in recovery, then you know, like, we all have to walk through our own stuff, right? But when it comes to, I think, family and friends that we may have hurt in the past, we're like just really trying to save them from pain from us too. I think there's survivor's guilt too. I think that's where I was getting with that, is like when somebody recovers, or you have friends, like while you're recovering, and you might have friends or family that are still in active addiction or have passed away from it, that there's a lot of guilt, like, why me? Why did I make it and why didn't they? And I think survivor's guilt can also drive a person to give excessively or volunteer relentlessly or neglect themselves in the like name of service, right? And I think the root of that, like I said, is survivor's guilt. And I think that you can overcompensate through this self-sacrifice. I think sometimes too it can be a lack of self-trust. I think that, you know, you feel safer just trusting other people and showing them that, you know, you've broken so many promises, so I'm going to keep these promises. I'm going to do these things because I need to do these things because I said I would. Even if an emergency comes up, I know people who are people pleasers who will like, oh, well, my grandma died, but I told this person I was going to help them go move to a new apartment. And then they missed their grandma's funeral because they were like, well, but I promised. I've met people in recovery who have done things like that because they were like, well, I gave them my word. Well, I think they'd understand. No, I gave them my word. Okay. And I think it's just a damaged self-trust and worry that you're going to damage the trust that others have in you because you made a promise. And it feels safe. I think there's also like some cultural or familial conditioning too, in that some families or cultures, like self-sacrifice is seen as a virtue. And therefore, you know, you're kind of, sometimes you could be praised in those environments for putting others first, or shamed for thinking of yourself, because like that can be really deeply ingrained. And I think as a result, people have a difficulty distinguishing between healthy self-prioritization, I said it, and moral failure. You know, it's not a moral failure to take care of yourself, to prioritize yourself sometimes. But we can think of it as a moral failing because we've been maybe culturally conditioned to believe that it is, you know? And of course, when we were active in our addiction, we were selfish. We didn't think of anybody but ourselves and our needs. So, I don't know. I think like I said, my insight here would be that putting oneself first, especially in recovery, is survival. And I have to get out of that people-pleasing space and remembering that I have to take care of myself because it is survival. It can be the difference between life and death sometimes with regard to recovery. And I think true recovery thrives when self-respect and self-compassion and self-care become non-negotiable. I have to stop just basically talking myself out of taking care of myself. And that doesn't mean frivolously spending on whatever, but like deodorant, Naomi, or socks. I needed socks. Like, why did you have a full-ass argument with yourself over some socks? Why are you having a full-ass argument with yourself over some socks or whatever, you know, equivalates, whatever equates, or whatever the word I was gonna say, equates to socks in your world? Why are you talking yourself out of the things that you need? You know, therapy and support groups and trauma work, it often helps rewire this old belief that others must always come first, you know. Anyway, that was my thoughts. You know, I've had, like I said, just a lot of my brain has just been, Naomi, you don't need it. And I need to remember that it's okay to treat myself like a human being sometimes, you know. And maybe I will get myself a couple of diamond paintings. I'm trying to save for Black Friday and Cyber Monday, so I don't want to go too crazy, you know what I mean? But I don't think it's bad to take care of myself sometimes. Anyway, what time are we at? Let's see. All right, we got like 45. We're at 45 minutes, but I can call it an early one if I want to, because I'm grown and I can decide that. Plus, you might have things you want to get done today. I've been watching. I will make a recommendation. Because I love recommendations. First of all, if you did not already know, there is a new season of Great British Baking Show on Netflix that you should be watching. Netflix, not Netflix, no. Great British Baking Show is great for self-care. It is so cozy. It's kind. The people in this competition show, like, they're not out to, you know, like, backstab each other, shank each other, or whatever. They're like truly and legitimately, they care about each other and they're supportive of each other. It's just a great show to watch. But I've been watching Lad Bible on YouTube, and it's a like a series called, I think it's called Extraordinary Lives. Extraordinary something. I think it's Extraordinary Lives. I most recently watched a documentary, basically like an interview, podcast, whatever, about this woman who is a dominatrix who like makes 10K a day, not a day, a week, 10K a week, doing what she does. I'm like, I could be a dominatrix. I don't want to be a dominatrix, but really, really, really interesting program. And they have lots of really extraordinary people that you get to hear from and about, and sort of like what that life is like, and really fascinating, the one with the dominatrix was. And so I highly encourage people to, whenever you can, whenever it is possible, to take some time and get to know a life that is not like your life. Something that is so far out of your comfort zone. Learn about those things, because it's what causes us to understand and to better exercise our empathy, and to be able to put ourselves into someone else's shoes by understanding a little bit more about why and who they are. So not just who they are, but why they are who they are. And so highly recommend, like I said, it's a channel called Lad Bible, LAD, And yeah, highly, 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 highly recommend checking out. It doesn't necessarily have to be the one about the dominatrix, but definitely checking it out for anything, really. Like anything that is different than what you do in a day. Like sometimes it's survival stories of people who have survived wars. They're refugees from other countries and they live abroad, because Lad Bible is a UK program. It talks about people who live in the UK, so it's not like American refugees, like people who've come to America. It's people who are refugees in the UK. Still amazing, still really good stuff. And so highly recommend checking that out too. So Great British Baking Show and Lad Bible on YouTube. But Great British Baking Show is on Netflix. I just like UK shows. The Great Big Flower Fight, I know I have recommended that one before. And Glow Up is also another really good one with makeup artists. And love, love, love those. Love them. Okay, let me empty this out into the container and then let's go ahead and read our tarot card thought for the week. I have already shuffled the cards and I kind of had some thoughts in mind about this new adventure that I am on that has brought some, money in my life. And is it going to be successful? Because I'm really hoping it is, because I could use just a change in my fortunes. You know what I mean? So let's pull these out. This is the Fairies Oracle by Brian Froud. He's the one who did the concept art for the Labyrinth movie. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cards. All right, so it is the Piper. I feel like we've had this one before, but the Piper, number 24. The Piper, the key words are music, order, harmony, seduction, and empathy. To get what you want, the Piper recommends that you try polite requests and gentle, patient persuasion. Then wait, quietly welcoming for it to come to you. Seek harmony and tranquility in yourself and in the world around you. Use tenderness and gentleness. This card speaks of a time of harmony, creativity, and increasing order. It tells us of communication without words, the music of empathy, and the awareness of the feelings and concerns of others. This is a time to pay attention to the subtlety of others' expressions of feelings and ideas. Look past the surface and listen as you would do to a beguiling melody on the very edge of hearing. He also plays melodies in our dreams, which may be filled with meaning and importance, and then he leaves it up to us to understand what they mean. This may also be a good time to be aware that others may be listening to us with sensitivity and clarity, so much so that they may hear what we are truly saying more clearly than we do ourselves. This card may also signify musical talent or ability, or it may be suggesting that the use of music is in some way important at the present time. Music is always great when you need something. I think I mentioned him before, but Monrovia on YouTube, go check him out. He's also on Pandora. Amazing music, good for the soul. But yeah, maybe I'll have to talk to a couple people, because maybe somebody's aware and maybe listening to me with more sensitivity and clarity that can tell me what I'm truly saying more clearly than I know myself. Is it you? What am I saying? What am I trying to say? What do I need to hear? Tell me. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for just listening, because it helps. And I hope that throughout these whipping chats, I know it helps me. I hope it helps you too, because otherwise, I'm just doing it for me, and that's okay. But I'd love to be able to help at least just one person. And I hope that that's you today. Either way, I'm going to finish kidding this up. It's been amazing to hang out as ever. I hope that wherever you are in this great, big, wide, wonderful world of ours, that you are having a wonderful morning, evening, or afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are. All right, I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.